It's time for some midweek mysticism, and this week in particular, we're about to begin what's called the Bein HaMetzarim, a 3-week period of national Jewish mourning that starts with the fast of the 17th of Tammuz and continues all the way until the 9th of Av, which is the saddest day on the Jewish calendar. So, what's mystical about that? Well, we're taught, there's a verse in the Torah that says, B'chol tzarasom loy tzar, that all of our difficulties are, so to speak, painful or frustrating, difficult for God as well. There's another verse that says, Imoy anoichi b'tzara. Hashem says, I am with you in your pain, in your difficulty. Which of course sounds really difficult to imagine, because how could God be with us in our pain? We could understand if God said he was compassionate, even empathetic. But with us, in our pain, that does sound just a little bit strange. Along similar lines, the Talmud tells us that after the destruction of the temples in Jerusalem, wherever the main Jewish communities moved, the Shekhinah, the divine presence, moved with them. Now that's interesting. How would it be that the divine presence would move with us into a state of exile? You would expect that Jerusalem is a holy place, and under all circumstances, and regardless of where the Jewish people might be, Jerusalem should be a place of divine presence and divine revelation. In fact, logically, it only makes sense that we should say that divine presence is around if we could see it, or feel it, or experience it, or witness miracles. It seems very bizarre to suggest that when we're in difficult circumstances, away from our homeland, exposed to aggressors, that God and his divine presence would be with us. And the mistake, I suppose, that we make is we tend to believe that we have an accurate built-in gauge of when God is close or far. And this is the mystical thought about this period of time. Sometimes we imagine that Hashem is close. Sometimes we feel it. We feel exhilarated. We feel inspired. And we then make the mistake of suggesting that because I feel a particular way, that means there's more divine energy, closeness to God. The truth is, it doesn't necessarily work that way. The reason that God created the world in the fashion that he did was because he wanted to allow us the opportunity as individuals to discover our own potential, to achieve and to make a difference. And you can only really discover your own potential and achieve and make a difference when you have to work, and when you have to work independently. So you are, the Baal Shem Tov tells us, where your deepest interest lies. You might be sitting in a particular room, listening to a talk or participating in a group experience, but actually you'd rather be somewhere else, and that's where you really are. You are really at the golf course, or you are really hanging out with your friends, because that's where your interest truly lies. Where God is in the environment where his interest lies. And his interest lies in us rising to the occasion of our own accord. As long as he's glaring in our face with the wonderful supernatural experience of the temple in Jerusalem, where everybody can witness the divine presence, who says we're achieving? Maybe we're just reacting to the environment. But when we're out, dispersed around the world, with all kinds of challenges and very minimal spiritual awareness, and we still push forward and do what Hashem wants, then he says, that's what I really wanted. That's the real reason I created the world. This is where my real interest lies. So that's where I really am. When we're in tzara, imoy anoichi, when we're in the difficult places of having to make our own decisions and stand on our own 2 feet, that's when he's most with us.